Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching on onespotmedia.com. Minister of Technology Dr. Andrew Wheatley was this morning rushed to hospital after being involved in a three-vehicle crash in Portmore, St. Catherine. The collision happened about 9 o'clock at the four-way intersection of Portsmouth, Waterford, Independence City and Passageforth. It's still unclear what caused the crash, but the black Toyota Prado, in which the minister was a passenger, overturned as the driver tried to avoid hitting another vehicle. However, two other vehicles then slammed into it. Dr. Wheatley was transported to hospital by police personnel. Director of Communications at the Office of the Prime Minister, Robert Morgan, gave TVJ News an update on Dr. Wheatley's condition.
Minister of Technology, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, had an accident this morning. He was transported to a corporate area hospital where he's currently doing tests. Just spoke to him. He's okay, but he's just for precautionary purposes, he's doing tests to ensure that everything is okay.
A female driver who was also injured in the collision was also taken to hospital. Up to news time, her condition was still not known. The driver of the third vehicle, a man, had no visible injuries at the time. The 16-year-old girl who was shot last night in Denhamtown, Kingston, has died. Shahini Beckett of Tulip Lane was pronounced dead at hospital after being attacked about 9:30 in the community. A man who was also shot during the incident has been hospitalized in critical but stable condition. Reports are that the teenager was walking in the community when she was pounced upon by men armed with guns who shot her in the head. The men ran but were intercepted by police officers attached to the Denhamtown Zone of Special Operations ZOSO. This led to a shootout. However, the men escaped. After the exchange of gunfire, the injured man was found on Oxford Street with a bullet wound to the chest. As the murder trial for businessman Keith Clark got underway this morning, submissions were made that the accused soldiers are immune from prosecution under the Emergency Powers Regulation 2010. An attorney from the Jamaica Defense Force submitted that this was based on certificates signed by former National Security Minister Peter Bunting. Lance Corporals Greg Tingling and Odell Buckley, as well as Private Arnold Henry, are accused of killing Mr. Clark inside his Kirkland Heights home during an operation conducted by the Jamaica Defense Force to capture then drug kingpin Christopher Dulles Coke in May 2010. However, the attorney for the JDF told the court this morning that the actions of Corporal Buckley on the day of the incident were done in good faith and exercise of his functions for public safety and in the public's interest. Peter Kalash, the man who the St. Elizabeth police described as a serial rapist, was sentenced to 12 years imprisonment when he appeared in the St. James Circuit Court on Friday. Kalash pleaded guilty to several counts of rape, grievous sexual assault and abduction when he appeared in the St. Elizabeth Circuit Court, that is, on March 21 before Justice Martin Gale. His sentencing was postponed on Friday, March 23 after it was disclosed that his antecedent was not prepared. Kalash, who was a mechanic and taxi operator of Treasure Beach, was arrested on warrant for forcible abduction and rape, counts of grievous sexual assault, buggery and robbery with violence. Now, he was placed on the St. Elizabeth Police Most Wanted list following reports from several women that he sexually assaulted them while traveling in his taxi which plied the Black River to Treasure Beach route. Following his arrest, he was placed on several identification parades and was pointed out by his victims. It's time for Jamaicans to take back our country from those who are destroying it. That's according to Justice Minister Delroy Chuck, who was speaking recently at a swearing-in ceremony for 40 new Justices of the Peace in Clarendon. The Justice Minister pointed out that criminal elements in the country are wreaking havoc on the society and something needs to be done urgently. But he noted that it cannot be the government alone.
We have too many gangsters, gunmen, criminals who are leading our people in the wrong path and capturing our young men and women and abusing them and misleading them into criminality and into indiscipline and creating major havoc in our country.
Mr. Chuck noted that justices of the peace need to work with the police and citizens in the fight against crime.
I would like you to be the leaders in your communities, to stand up for what is right, to engage the community, to lead that community away from the indiscipline, the disorder, the chaos, the immorality, the criminality that like tsunamis have taken over Jamaica.
He said that it's high time for Jamaicans to ensure that the country is on the right path. He also underscored that security needs to be established now so that future generations will be able to benefit from a safer environment.
And you who have made yourself available to serve, you're the people that we're calling on to use up the space and provide no space for those who believe that crime pays, who support indiscipline, and who attach themselves to corruption and give Jamaica a bad name wherever Jamaicans go.
The Clarendon police are following strong leads into last week's murder of 2 goat farmers in the parish. Crime Chief for the division, Deputy Superintendent Hemford Wade, says detectives are searching for 3 suspects. He's hoping to make an early breakthrough in the case. The senior investigator said the farmers were killed after surprising the goat thieves. The police suspect the men were killed by persons they knew. 55-year-old Vincent Hudson and 74-year-old Altimon Harrison were murdered and their livestock stolen in Hayes on Friday. 1 man has been held in connection with robberies during Sunday's carnival marches in the corporate area. The man, who is from an address in Manchester, was taken into custody after several cell phones and jewelry believed to be stolen property were found in his possession. The police are appealing to persons whose belongings were stolen during Sunday's event to contact the Halfway Tree Criminal Investigations Branch, CIB, at 926-8184, Police 119 emergency number, or the nearest police station. Residents of Boston community in Portland staged a demonstration this morning protesting the lack of water in their community. The residents blocked the Boston Main Road to draw attention to their frustration. They say the community has been without running water for over 2 months.
We want water! We want water! We want water! We want water!
I don't have a good morning this morning. Reason being, it's 2 months now we haven't get no water. And we are paying our water bill. I'm tired of calling the National Water Commission and they said they're sending truck and up till today, no truck. And we are paying for our water. Kids can't go to school, we can't bathe. And I'm tired of buying chocolate milk to warm for tea.
The roadblocks caused a major traffic pileup along the main road. It was eventually cleared by police personnel from the Port Antonio Police Station. Inspector Pauline Woods told TVJ News that the National Water Commission, NWC, was contacted and water trucks will be sent to the community today.
I am here awaiting the water truck to come as persons decide that if they have not received water today, they will be continuing the protest, which is why I'm still here. But for now, vehicles are able to flow freely on both sides.
Pressure continues to be mounted on Prime Minister Andrew Holness to reconsider naming the North-South Highway in honor of former Prime Minister Edward Seaga. The People's National Party has reiterated that it will resist the move. It maintains that the highway, which links Kingston to Ocho Rios, should be renamed the Portia Simpson Miller Highway.
Mr. Seaga was on record as saying that the government shouldn't spend the money on highway. They should spend money fixing up internal roads. When the PMP came back into office in 2012, it was Comrade Portia Simpson Miller who took the initiative to find the funding to ensure that the highway was complete. It cannot be right. It is divisive. It is partisan for this government to believe that they must proceed to name the North-South Highway after Mr. Seaga. We're saying to the Prime Minister, reconsider that.
The People's National Party last night declared that it will not back down from its call for Dr. Tufton to resign over his handling of the situation at the Carnival Regional Hospital. PNP General Secretary Julian Robinson raised the issue at a PNP meeting in the Bohema Primary School in St. Anne.
Thousands of Jamaicans have been exposed to agents that could cause them cancer and many other illnesses. And life goes on. The People's National Party will continue to speak on behalf of the people of Jamaica. The Prime Minister must act, and the Minister has been derelict in his responsibility as a minister, and he must go.
And we go now to news overseas. Syria and Russia have denied involvement in the suspected chemical attack that killed more than 70 people in Douma. But the Russian Foreign Ministry is calling the allegations of chemical strike in Syria a hoax.
Well, Russia seems to be taking very seriously what President Trump is saying, that there will be a big price to pay. The Foreign Ministry essentially calling the allegations of a chemical strike in Syria, in Douma, calling them a hoax, blaming NGOs like the White Helmets, accusing them essentially of being terrorists rather than actually helping the injured civilians on the ground. And the statement goes on to remind the United States that Russia has its own service people in Syria, invited by the government, working on the ground at the invitation of the Syrian government to help the Syrian government. And it goes on to indicate that if there were to be any action, there would be very serious consequences. The statement continues like this: "We have warned of such dangerous provocations many times before," meaning these allegations of the chemical strikes. "The purpose of these false conjectures, which are without basis, is to shield the terrorists and the irreconcilable radical opposition which reject a political settlement while trying to justify possible military strikes from outside."
And we go now to sports. Jamaica have increased their medal tally to 4 at the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast, Australia, after picking up 3 medals in the 100 meters. In the women's final, Christania Williams and Gayon Evans picked up silver and bronze, while Trinidad and Tobago's Michelle Lee Ai is the new Commonwealth champion. Johan Blake picked up bronze in the men's finals as the South African pair Akani Simbini and Hendricks Brutis took the 1-2, getting gold and silver. Now in the hurdles, Jamaica will have 3 athletes in the final on Tuesday as Dejor Russell, Ronald Levy and Hansel Parchment will compete. Over in netball, the Sunshine Girls have booked their spot into the semi-finals with 1 game to spare after a 76-32 victory over Barbados. For the 4th game in a row, Janelle Fowler Reed led the way for the Jamaicans with 32 goals from 36 attempts. Romelda Aking also chipped in with 28 from 33. And still in sports, the serial killers, that's serial with a C, had to come from behind to defeat the Saints in the KPMG Squash League at the Ligani Club on Friday. Jamaican youth players Karan Shatani and Noah Hotai and Tobias Levy of the serial killers defeated the University of Technology-based Saints of Adam Lee, Nathalie Borland and Andre Wright 2-1. Levy was the decider in the final, defeating Andre Wright 21-8, 21-17 and 21-15. He says his perseverance helped him to get over the line with the win.
But midway in the second game, I was getting tired, but I won the game with a late unforced error. And in the third game, I think I played really well. I was getting tired, but I pulled through at the end to win.
Captain of the Saints, Nathalie Borland, has already turned her attention towards next year's champions.
Anybody can win. So the serial killers came out the victors today. Congratulations to them. And the Saints, we train year-round. So we'll be coming back next year bigger and better for the KPMG League.
President of the Jamaica Squash Association, Chris Hind, says he is delighted that the junior players got match practice against more experienced players to prepare for the Regional Caribbean Junior Championship in July.
So one of the things we were very pleased about in particular was having the youngsters playing against more senior players and giving them strong match play opportunities, because they will certainly need that when we play Junior Casa later in the year.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the News, Sports and Production teams, good afternoon.